Invictus My Kings, welcome to Top 5 Dumbest Total War AI, where we go over the games where the AI just doesn't know what it's doing, whether on the campaign map, on the battlefield. It just can't handle the mechanics of the game and definitely cannot stand up to the ingenuity of the player. Number 5 on our list is Medieval 2 Total War, and I know it hurts me to say this, but look, Medieval 2 Total War, an old game, the AI, especially on the campaign map, isn't very good. It isn't very smart. Now, on the battlefield, the Medieval 2 Total War AI can hold its own relatively well. On the battlefield, it's fine. On the battlefield, it's fine. But on the campaign map, it's atrocious. It breaks alliances, declares war on you constantly, even though you're allied. The AI just is completely and absolutely unhinged and chaotic. Now, that's not a bad thing if you want sort of that sort of experience, if you're going into Total War to really experience Total War as Total War. However, when it comes to playing a more, let's say, structured campaign or role-playing or playing just for fun, it can be really, really annoying that the AI is just so chaotic and so unhinged, and the fact that it just doesn't seem like it knows what it's really doing. It constantly breaks diplomacy, declares war on you, then it sues for peace, then it declares war again. It's just a mess. Number 4 on our list is Total War Thrones of Britannia. Now, what do you want me to say about this game that hasn't been said already? Well, mostly that the AI just really doesn't get the whole mechanic around building armies. It builds maybe half a stack, it builds maybe a full stack, but it really just can't seem to get its head around actually constructing an army and expanding its territory. It builds maybe one army because of the levy system, even that one's kind of scuffed sometimes, and then just sits there very passively, not really doing anything. Now, on the battlefield, obviously, it's a different story. In Thrones of Britannia, on the battlefield being a direct successor to Total War Attila, the AI is actually relatively okay. However, on the campaign map, it's just a disaster. The AI just doesn't know how to build armies, doesn't know what it's doing, and that's why it's number 4. Next up is Total War Rome 2, and mostly because of just how incredibly passive the AI is. Even more so than Thrones of Britannia, the AI just doesn't really understand what it's doing. Now, there are some exceptions. The barbarian kingdoms, if you leave them alone for a long enough time, they do actually form somewhat of a confederation. Same with the Gauls, they do form a confederation. However, the AI just sits there and lets you dominate it completely. It's really just like a little masochistic almost, you would want to say, but that's just the case. The AI just sits there, lets you completely annihilate it, dominate it, and mostly up until this point, we've been talking about AI that's really weird on the campaign map. However, in Rome 2, it starts to really look like the battlefield is affected as well, because the AI on the battlefield, while it does basic maneuvers, it's not necessarily tactical in any sort of meaningful way. It charges headfirst into pikemen. It has almost no self-preservation. It just runs in, not quite as much as the games that are coming up, but it really doesn't have any sort of sense of tactics. It doesn't try to outflank you, it just rushes headfirst right into you, and that can be really annoying. So on the battlefield and on the campaign map, the AI, not good. Number 2 on our list is Rome Total War, both the original and to a lesser extent, yet still the remaster. And honestly, this game, it's a great game. It honestly is a wonderful game, full of experiences and wonderful childhood memories. However, the AI on the campaign map suffers from exactly the same problems as the one in Medieval 2, where it's insanely chaotic. It constantly breaks alliances, it breaks diplomatic deals, it sues for peace 5 seconds after it declares war. There's the old meme of accept or we will attack, please do not attack. It's just a mess on the campaign map. It's relentlessly aggressive sometimes, and sometimes it's incredibly passive. And then on the battlefield, look, you want to talk about an all-out charge of the enemy against your pikemen. Rome Total War is the game where that is the gold standard. The AI has absolutely no sense of tactics. It just rushes at you with everything it has, right down the middle, tries to break you, tries to break through, and that can be an incredible mess sometimes. It really is not the best. Now, it's not as bad as the number one game that's on our list. However, it still suffers from a lot of very weird issues. Now, it's a wonderful game, but it definitely has AI issues, and that's why it's number 2. And number 1 on our list is obviously Empire Total War. The AI on the campaign map is passive as heck. It doesn't do anything, basically. It just sits there, lets itself get conquered, maybe builds a stack here and there, but ultimately doesn't really do anything. On the battlefield, the AI just flails around. It doesn't even stand still. It doesn't even know how to stand still and fire, which is the way you want to play Empire Total War. You want your soldiers to stand still and fire upon the enemy. The AI isn't capable of even standing still. That's how bad it is. It can't even follow the very basic of the basics when it comes to line infantry warfare. It can't do even that. And yeah, it's just a mess. It's completely terrible. And all you have to do is boot up Empire Total War, play as any nation you want for like 50 years maybe, and then boot up Napoleon Total War and just compare, especially the French AI in Napoleon Total War. Just compare the amount of activity, the amount of passivity, everything that's going on, and you immediately see just how much of an improvement Napoleon Total War was compared to Empire. In Empire, the AI, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. That's the only way you can really say. Now, it's a fun game, but it's fun in the way a lot of broken games are fun. It's fun in the way that it's a complete mess. And yeah, you won't really see a lot of people praising Empire Total War AI. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, thanks Kings for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.